Hello!
Hello!
We are standing in front of what probably were the offices of Parque Tivoli,
Tívoli was a famous park.
but it never opened.
Too bad.
So, what is the story behind and what is left?
We're going to show you and trying to find everything what's left from Tívoli.
Let's go up.
Yes?
Tívoli was planned in the early 1970s as a large amusement park in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. It is widely recognized that people in Spain, and especially in the Canary Islands, have a strong interest in this type of entertainment. The local population therefore represents a highly significant potential audience for Tívoli. Another undeniable reality is the enormous tourism boom the island is experiencing. Gran Canaria has established itself as one of the world's most important tourist destinations. The park's privileged location, right at the main entrance to the city, was designed to provide a joyful and impressive welcome to the constant stream of visitors arriving from the airport. Tourists from mainland Spain and from abroad, whose numbers continue to grow year after year, as well as visitors from the neighboring Canary Islands, were also expected to form a major part of Tívoli's audience. According to official data from the Ministry of Information and Tourism, municipal population records, and other institutions at the end of 1972, and considering the sustained annual tourism growth of approximately 20%, as confirmed by statistics from previous years, projections indicated that by the end of 1975, the planned opening year of Las Palmas Tívoli, the park would attract a large and diverse flow of visitors.
This was the roundabout.
Of the parking lot.
Yeah.
So you could park your car here, where the adventure of Tívoli should start.
The parking lot of Parque Tivoli was designed to be the welcoming gateway to the entire attraction, a wide open area carved into the hillside where visitors would leave behind the noise of the city and step into a world of amusement and excitement. Today, all that remains is an empty, leveled stretch of ground, a silent reminder of what once was planned but never fully lived. The parking area was large and functional, built to accommodate families arriving in cars and buses from all across Las Palmas. Its shape followed the natural contours of the terrain, a broad rectangular space with a gentle slope, bordered by rough stone walls and a few scattered traces of the old access road. From here, visitors would have had a clear view toward the future entrance of the park, the gateway where the dream was supposed to begin. Now, as you stand there, the parking lot feels more like a viewing platform than a service area. The asphalt is gone, replaced by gravel and dust. The painted lines for parking spaces have long disappeared, erased by time, demolition works, and the elements. Only the flatness of the terrain hints at its original purpose. The silence here is striking. You can hear the wind brushing over the surface, carrying with it echoes of the past. The imagined sound of doors closing, families walking toward the main gate, children pulling their parents forward with excitement. The parking lot was to be the first step into joy, but now it serves as a final reflection point, the last physical reminder of a project that never became what it promised.
The ticket booths of Parque Tivoli were meant to be the very first point of excitement, the small but important threshold between the outside world and the magic of the park. They stood just beyond the entrance gate, designed with simple, functional shapes, ready to welcome thousands of visitors who would walk up with anticipation in their eyes. But like the rest of Tívoli's dream, the ticket booths never fulfilled their purpose. Today, there is no trace of them. No windows, no counters, no shadows on the ground to mark where they stood. The booths have disappeared completely, as if they were never there at all. Only the flattened earth and the faint division of space near the original entrance area suggest where families would have lined up, tickets in hand, eager to enter a world that never opened. It's strange to imagine it now. The place where parents would have waited with excited children, the sound of coins clinking, tickets tearing, and voices rising with expectation. These simple structures would have held the beginning of every adventure, the official start of the Tívoli experience.
Now we are standing probably at the most famous spot of Parque Tivoli. This is the place where you could buy the tickets. And the roofs of the ticket booths were pointy, and every point has its own letter marked the name Tívoli.
We will show you it in the old pictures.
Entering Parque Tivoli was meant to be the beginning of an unforgettable day, the kind of day families planned weeks in advance, circling it on their calendars and counting down the sleeps. As you passed under the colorful letters of T.I.V.O.L.I, stepping through the entrance with its pointed roof ticket booths behind you, the world outside seemed to fade away. The air inside carried a special kind of excitement, a mixture of sweet popcorn, sun-warmed paint, and the distant hum of rides waking up for the day. You could almost hear it, the first delighted screams from the roller coaster, the rhythmic bells of the carousel, the soft laughter of children tugging their parents toward the next attraction. Everything was designed to spark wonder. Shiny signs promised adventure. The music drifting through the pathways set a cheerful rhythm, and every corner looked like the start of a new memory. For many visitors, entering Parque Tivoli wasn't just walking into an amusement park. It was stepping into a carefully crafted dream of joy, a place where troubles stayed at the gate, and the only thing that mattered was having fun. The anticipation was electric, the happiness contagious, and the plan was simple. Today would be a day everyone would remember.
Today, the place where the Minipark of Parque Tivoli once stood is nothing more than an open, leveled patch of ground, silent, sun-bleached, and almost impossible to recognize. But if you stand there long enough, the wind seems to whisper fragments of what used to be. Back in its time, the Minipark was the heart of the experience for the youngest visitors. Tivoli was a bold symbol of progress, entertainment, and European-style leisure. In those first years, plans were drawn with enthusiasm. Architects sketched layouts full of roller coasters, a Ferris wheel, landscaped gardens, walking paths, and performance spaces. Promotional materials spoke of a new destination for fun, promising that Gran Canaria, famous for its beaches and sunshine, would soon offer a place where families could spend entire days immersed in thrill and imagination. But like many dreams of that era, the initial attempt faced more challenges than resources. Economic pressures, shifting priorities, and the growing costs of construction slowed the momentum. Some foundations were laid, a few structures began to rise, and the iconic pointed roofs of the future ticket booths were included in early drafts. But progress was inconsistent. What was meant to be a fast, energetic development turned into a hesitant stop-and-start process. By the late 1970s, the first attempt had partially faded. The vision still existed, the idea still excited people, but the spark wasn't strong enough to turn the dream into reality.
The 1980s brought a new wave of ambition to Gran Canaria, a decade of color, confidence, and renewed dreams. And with it, the second attempt to finally make Parque Tivoli a reality. After the first plans of the 1970s had faded into hopeful silence, the early 80s reopened the conversation. The island was booming again. Tourism reached new heights, hotels expanded along the coast, and Las Palmas was transforming into a vibrant urban center. Developers saw an opportunity. Perhaps now the island was ready for a true amusement park. This second attempt was more serious, more structured, more determined. Investors appeared with fresh capital, the designs were reworked, and the vision became sharper. Instead of a scattered dream, the park began to take shape as a complete project, a place that could rival small amusement parks in mainland Spain and even northern Europe. During these years, the land was cleared and shaped with purpose. The outlines of pathways appeared. Earth was moved to prepare foundations. Engineers marked the spots where future rides would stand. Plans finally solidified for a roller coaster, a Ferris wheel, a central plaza, and the beloved Minipark for children. Optimism was back. Newspapers wrote short notes about the progress. Locals who drove past on the highway watched the gradual changes with curiosity. Ahora sí, people said. This time, yes. This time it will happen. But the 80s were also unpredictable. Economic instability in Spain, fluctuations in tourism, and shifting priorities within the Canary Islands made large entertainment projects difficult to sustain. Some investors withdrew, others hesitated. By the late 1980s, The second attempt stood halfway. Not abandoned, but not alive either. The island began to know the name Parque Tivoli. People started to imagine what it would look like, how it would feel, how families would spend their Sundays there. It was a decade of almost built, almost opened, almost celebrated. But the dream didn't die. It simply waited, gathering strength for the next chapter.
Among all the imagined attractions and half-built structures of Parque Tivoli, the Chinese tower stood out as one of the most iconic and mysterious. Even though the park never opened, the tower became a symbol of what Tivoli could have been: exotic, colorful, and full of character. The structure was inspired by traditional East Asian pagoda architecture, multiple layered roofs, each slightly smaller than the one below, rising upward in a graceful staircase of curves. The edges of each roof were designed to flick upward like the wings of a bird preparing to fly, giving the tower a light, elegant silhouette, even though it was built of concrete and steel. In its original plan, the tower was meant to serve as a visual beacon, a centerpiece that could be seen from different parts of the park. Some early sketches indicated it would house a snack bar or small themed shop on the lower level, while the upper level would simply be decorative, a statement of color and fantasy rising above the attraction area.
Hello, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. And if you want, you can share this video with friends or on social media. Don't forget to subscribe to ExploGC channel to see every video we post. And click the notification bell to be the first to know when we post a new ExploGC video. And at last, please leave a comment what you think about the content of the video. Thank you so very much. And now let's continue with the video.
By the time the 1990s arrived, Parque Tivoli was a dream caught between hope and exhaustion. For more than 2 decades, the project had risen, paused, revived, and stalled again. The land still held the foundations of ambition, but the world around it was changing faster than the park could keep up. During the early 90s, there were still whispers of possibility. Some believed the park could still be completed, that Gran Canaria deserved its own amusement oasis, and that the work done in the previous decade shouldn't go to waste. But optimism began to thin out. The tourism industry evolved in new directions. Investors turned their eyes to hotels, shopping centers, and coastal developments. Large amusement parks required money, maintenance, and long-term planning, things that were harder and harder to secure. And so, quietly, Tivoli began to drift into a state of abandonment. The structures left from the 80s attempt stood alone under the sun. The iconic ticket booths, once imagined as a colorful welcome, slowly lost their brightness. Dust settled on the exposed concrete. Weeds grew through cracks where future pathways were meant to be. The park never opened its gates, yet time treated it as if it had lived decades of use. Local drivers on the GC1 still looked for the familiar silhouette of the pointed roofs spelling T.I.V.O.L.I, but the site became a reminder of what never came to be, a monument to unfinished dreams. In the mid to late 90s, the last hopes faded completely. The remaining pieces were gradually removed. Sections of concrete were broken apart. Anything reusable was taken. Anything unsafe was cleared. What was left was a strangely empty plateau overlooking the city. A flat stage where a grand show had been planned, but never performed. By the end of the 90s, Parque Tivoli wasn't a project anymore. It was a memory, a ghost of an idea that locals spoke about. ¿Te acuerdas de Tívoli? A story parents told their children. There was going to be a theme park here once. A place where imagination lingered longer than construction ever did. The land eventually returned to silence, but beneath the dust, the history of Tivoli stayed buried like a forgotten footprint. Proof that Gran Canaria once dreamed of roller coasters, Ferris wheels, color, joy, and a world of fun perched above the city.
The ground is flat now, softened by dust, gravel, and time. But if you look closely, you can still sense the outline of something bigger. A long, slightly raised stretch of earth curves gently, as if remembering the path the track once followed. Back then, this was the beating heart of Tivoli's adrenaline. The roller coaster wasn't enormous, but for Gran Canaria, it was iconic. A twisting structure of bright painted steel rising proudly above the park. From a distance, visitors could see the highest point of the track climbing towards the sky like a promise. Now, the wind is the only thing that travels through the space. Just a patch of slightly darker soil and a few scraps of old concrete, sun-bleached and cracked. The footing points where support poles once anchored into the ground sometimes reveal themselves as strange, perfectly aligned stones under the gravel, like fossils of fun. If you stand there long enough, you might almost hear it again, the clack, clack, clack of the chain lift, a breathless pause at the top, and the rush of wheels diving into the first drop. But the space remembers, and so does anyone who ever passed by and dreamed of riding it. The Ferris wheel of Parque Tivoli was imagined as one of the park's most iconic features, not the tallest in the world, nor the most modern, but a symbol of gentle joy. In every drawing and early plan, it stood proudly on the park's upper plateau, overlooking the city of Las Palmas and the breaking waves of the Atlantic far below. From the GC1, drivers would have been able to see it slowly turning above the skyline. This was intentional. The Ferris wheel was meant to become the postcard image of Tivoli. Its white metal frame was designed to shine under the Canarian sun, and on clear days, it would have been visible from far along the coast. The wheel's placement was one of its greatest strengths. From the top, passengers would have enjoyed a panoramic view of the sprawling city of Las Palmas, the port and its cranes, the mountains behind the park, and the deep, endless ocean stretching toward Africa. At sunset, the experience would have been magical. Gondolas gently swaying in the golden light, the shadow of the wheel rolling across the park below like a clock hand keeping slow time. The wheel became a symbol of the entire Tivoli story. Beautiful, hopeful, full of potential, and ultimately unfinished.
That's the spot where used to be the roller coaster. And that's the spot where used to be the Ferris wheel.
The demolition of Parque Tivoli did not happen in a single day. It wasn't a dramatic explosion, nor a sudden disappearance overnight. Instead, it unfolded quietly, almost shyly, the slow erasing of a dream that had never truly been born. A park that never heard laughter. For years, Tivoli had stood on the hillside like a promise. The ticket booths with the pointed roofs spelled the name for every driver on the GC1. The Chinese tower watched over the empty earth like a curious guardian. Concrete foundations marked the futures of roller coasters, carousels, plazas, and small cafes that were never built. But by the late 1990s, the writing was on the wall. The project would never open, never be revived, never echo with music or laughter. The land was too valuable to leave frozen in time. Developers returned with new plans, and slowly, the end began.
Before any machines arrived, the park had already begun its own demolition. Nature was the first to dismantle it. Paint peeled off the ticket booths. The Chinese tower lost its color, fading into pale ghosts of its former reds and greens. Wooden signs cracked under the sun. Grass and thorny weeds pushed through cracks in concrete. The wind became the only thing that traveled through the spaces where crowds were supposed to wander. The park felt like a dream dissolving.
Then came the day the silence broke. Early one morning, long before the traffic on the GC1 grew heavy trucks made their way up the service road. Their engines echoed across the hillside, announcing the beginning of the end. Workers in bright vests walked across the same ground where children were once supposed to run. Bulldozers and excavators lined up like an army preparing to erase the past. It was not violent, it was systematic.
By the early 2000s, the last truck drove away. No signs remained of Parque Tivoli. The hillside was just a hillside again, silent, sun-drenched, and strangely peaceful. Drivers on the GC1 no longer saw the T.I.V.O.L.I letters. Kids growing up in Las Palmas no longer asked, "What is that place up there?" The dream faded into whispers, myths, and nostalgic conversations. But for those who watched the demolition, who remembered the excitement of the 80s and the hope of the early 90s, the empty ground still carries a faint echo, the ghost of a park that never opened. A dream built, abandoned, and finally taken apart piece by piece.
We are on the exit of Parque Tivoli.
And it was exit. They didn't even start.
It's a sad story.
Yeah.
But we've shown you what could have been.
And we like to show you the history, what happens in Gran Canaria.
So this was what never was. See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. Check our website ExploGC.es for more info, more extra content, and all the links to all our social media platforms. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And if you like, you can watch one of our other videos. See you on the next video of ExploGC. Hasta la próxima. Adiós.